Would you rather is a fun game. I've got one for you. Would you rather spend $800 plus tax on 4 base traps, buying them new? Or would you rather spend 143 taxes in and have materials left over? Oh, wait. Oh, you want to make your own? Okay, that's cool. Well, let's talk about that. Let me just detail what I spent here, first of all. I went to Home Depot. I got 6 8-foot boards, SPF 1x4, because D-fur will split from the screws, so you want SPF. And a pack of 100 1.5-inch screws, number 8. Get number 6 if you can. Smaller. Number 8 wasn't necessarily necessary. Okay, those materials, $34.90. And you might have screws and wood already, so. Okay, then I went to Rona and I got a pack, 8 bats of Rockwool Safe and Sound. It's 3 inches thick. 2x6 at 24-inch spacing is what the description. $93.66. Then I went to Home Depot again. And I got 9 ook D-rings. I believe it's the medium size. These are for picture hanging, and they go on the back of the base trap. So 2 on the corners on the top for each, on the back side. And I got Arrow T50 3/8 of an inch construction staples. That was $15.67. Everything else I had. You might have some of these things too. I also lucked out, having worked as a carpenter, I have a bunch of tools and some other things were lying around, but that's pretty realistic of what a lot of people have. Kind of regardless, this was going to be less than $200 for 4 of them for me, and I have half my installation left over for another 4 if I want, or I'll just give them to someone. So 48 feet of 1x4. I only used 32 screws, 8 for each, 2 on each corner. 8 drywall picture hangers. These are really cool. You can use a stud finder to see. I actually preferred to use the drywall hangers rather than finding a stud. This was I really liked them. You just push through the drywall, and then it goes up and in, and it leaves the hook out. And then the D-rings will just land on the hooks. So you can hang them or take them down really easily. It's nice. Other than that, the fabric, you can spend hundreds of dollars on fabric. That's when I was looking to buy it new. From Fabricland, and it was just kind of absurd that it would blow the budget on the project. So all you need is a breathable fabric. So what I had here, some curtains that were no longer being used, sort of light blue or gray, and it's breathable, and I had more than enough, and it was just wide enough that it would overlap the long way, and I was able to wrap around. And I believe it was 4 curtains, so the 1 for each, and then I had some left over that I just donated at the end, the material. So it takes about 20 square feet to wrap a 2-foot by 4-foot base trap. So 80 square feet for 4 of them. And I actually spent a lot of time on stapling the fabric and making sure that was done nice. It can take a bit depending on how picky you are, and I hadn't done that before. So that, and also before that, another thing that took a while, which was optional, is sanding the corners and edges and then filling any knotty areas or the heads of the screws. You can use a wood filler. I actually ended up using a Bondo putty. 120, 220, 320. As far as sanding, 220 is probably enough. And it was just so that you don't rip the fabric. I was kind of worried about that later on. I didn't want to have to redo this. So my instructions, as it were, it's already done, but I'm trying to relay it now. So you cut 2 47 1/4 inch and 2 23 1/4 inch pieces per base trap. So you do that 4 times. Take 2 pieces, a long and a short. Lay them flat on the floor or the table, your working surface. Use 2 screws on each corner, kind of 3/4 of an inch in from the end, and then 3/8 of an inch in, so it centers with the 3/4 thickness of the board it's going into. ensure the frame is square. So I used a speed square on the inside of the corners and then a framing square on the outside. And I kind of held that with my knees while I then like drilled the screws on. Just to help keep the frame square. You don't want to make the thing racked and try and fight it after. It might crack if you try and straighten it. So then insert an insulation bat into the frame. Go flush with one side. When I opened the pack up, it did appear that each bat kind of had a nice face, so I put that on what I deemed to be the front of each base trap. At that point is when you can sand and fill if you want. I mean, you could do it before the installation, but when the installation was in, then they were kind of done and had them all 4 in a row, and you can assembly line it. So then drape your fabric, breathable fabric that you have, over the base trap long ways, and line up with an edge, like the long edge, and on the side, get it even. You're overlapping each side, kind of, so you have enough, it won't be exposed, and start stapling one side. Then you pull it taut or tight, stretch it to the next side, hold it there, staple down the edge, do the top and the bottom before coming around, because you started here, you came here, and now you're coming back around on the wrap, and I did that last. So you're stapling the same side you started on, but just the bottom of it, or the back side. It started on this row, wrapped around, stapled, center, come around, staple this side. And before stapling this side, I did the top and the bottom. Probably a few ways to do it. Once that's done, you're going to install the D-rings, if you want to do it my way. And so I measured 4 inches down to where this would hang with it upright. And then in my room, I measured 4 1/4 inches down below the crown molding and 16 3/4 inches out each way from the corner. I did the trig already, that works nicely. With a 2-foot width, you have 1 foot away, if you're even on the corner, 1 foot, 17 inches, but 16 3/4 worked nicely, kind of sucks it in to the wall, and there's some allowance with the loop of the D-ring. So I made a mark and then held that where I needed it to be, screwed it in, centered on the board, right? So 3/8 of an inch over, 4 inches down to this point. And the marks I was talking about there on the wall, 4 1/4 down, 16 3/4 over each way at the corner. Then you can just push in the drywall picture hanger. So that 1/4 inch difference, that allows you to lift up the base trap when you go to hang it and take it down. If you use the same measurement, you wouldn't be able to get it on, because you can't go up and hang down, or lift it up and take it off. So you need a little bit of tolerance. You actually get a bit more than that because of how the D-rings are kind of working. And when I say 4 inches, it's just, if you go any higher, it's kind of a bad balancing situation. You can go lower, but like if you're at the center, this thing could teeter. So this was maybe arbitrary, but a good point. You could probably go 6 inches, no problem as well. In the corner, I was talking about 16 3/4 inches, 4 1/4. Made the mark. Insert, same thing there, same thing there, same thing there. That corner wasn't actually very square. I had to do a little sort of adjustment for that. This one's has to be done a little differently, right? Because I have this trim around the door. And so when I close the door and install this base trap, I'm locked in here, right? So I have the 3 up all the time, and this is the 4th one when I'm going to be recording. And because of that, I had to make an adjustment. This pushes it further away, so I'm 17 1/4 inches out. So I added 1/2 inch because of the trim. And I went with my typical 16 3/4 the other way. So that was just an adjustment because of the door trim. Otherwise this thing wasn't working and it wouldn't reach this. That one's also pulled out a little bit. I used a larger size hook, like the hook is taller, to deal with this scenario. Show you what it's like. So bass drop, they're flat. Bring them out like 45 degrees. Actually doesn't even need to be that much. Okay, then I'm gonna hook it up one side then the other. I can see the hook, I'm on it. There, okay. It's hanging, it's good. It's up. Oh, we don't want to take it down? Okay, sure. Well, that was fast, wasn't it? Right, so I have 3 others that I do in my room. You really want to pay $200 plus tax or more per bass trap. I know you can get solid bass traps that fill the corners, but this 3-inch, it honestly makes a big difference. What I notice is the clarity, while it takes away some of the liveliness, but that's better for recording. And actually with them down, it's like right now I have no bass trap up. It's really weird hearing how echoey and live the room is now that I've had them up for months. And I was playing guitar and I would face where I had 2 of them up, and then in my room where I didn't have any bass traps up. And as I was just strumming and rotating in my room, I could hear the difference, how it sounded so much nicer to the ear when I was fit. That's what I heard. So it's an easy, nice thing you can do for a home studio, bedroom, and even for enjoying, like listening to your music and recording. They're comfy to have up. I have no problem. They're not in my way. Take them down if I need. Well, thanks for watching. Hope this helped you and you can make some bass traps on a budget now. Here are the 2 drywall picture hangers that I used. The one on the right with the taller hook was for that door trim scenario. And you just push them in, take some pressure, and it'll find its way. But now I will demonstrate installing 4 bass traps in my room, or just hanging them up. Hook them onto the drywall hangers with the D-rings partially out. Just watching one side and then the other. Sometimes there's traffic when you're doing this sort of thing. Now we'll do the corner that's not really square. Fold them out. I can't see that enough. That one's probably the hardest. And then to lock myself in here, got number 4. If you happen to have a triangular room, perhaps you only need to do 3. But 4 works for me. That's how it's done.